I've got some really cool Atmos music to talk about today. Now, the reason why I'm talking about it is because it's not available widely. If you go to Apple Music, it's not there. You go to Spotify, it's not going to be there. So, what is this Atmos music and how do you get it? So, there are a couple YouTubers out there who are mixing music in Atmos, and they are TechnoDad and Nick Matzke. And I have reached out to both of them, and they have given me permission to share this music with you, not just share it with you to talk about it, but also to give you the download links so that you can actually access this music. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about the music, why I think it's better than what is already available out there, the other versions of these same songs. And then also, I'm going to talk about how you access this music. So, not just download it, but how do you play it in your system? So, the first one I'm going to talk about is Nick Matzke. So, he has a YouTube channel and he has a Patreon set up to where you can access the lossless versions of these songs. So, the ones I'm going to be sharing with you in the description box of this video, these are the lossy versions. But if you want the lossless versions, then you can go over to his channel, which I'll also link to in the description box, and subscribe to his Patreon channel, and then you'll have full access to the lossless versions. So the first song I want to talk about is Live Up the Night. And this is an original song from Nick Matzke. It doesn't have any vocals. And so what he has done is first he wrote the song years ago, but then recently went back and remastered it in Atmos. And so obviously this song is not available anywhere else. You can't stream any version of it, as far as I know, on any streaming service. So this is an original only song. So the only way to get this song is through the link that I have provided in the description box. You can go to his channel. He also has it on his channel. So what makes this song cool is that he's done a really good job of taking the various elements of the song, and by mixing it in Atmos, he's created a very immersive experience as the sound moves around the room. The various guitar elements, they bounce around from location to location, and it's just a really cool listening experience. So I highly recommend you check it out. Now, the second song from Nick that I want to talk about is not an original by Nick. It is in fact the song Focus by Ariana Grande. Now, this song obviously is available widely on streaming, but it's not available in Atmos. I listened to Focus in the original version, but run it through the up mixer on my Anthem AVM 70. So I used my Anthem, it's like the Anthem Logic Cinema up mixer, so that it kind of, does what it can to place the elements throughout the room and whatnot. And I listened to it and it sounded good. It was fine. Like it's a good song. It's cool, But then I listened to the Nick Matzke Atmos version and was stunned. It was a night and day difference. The best way to describe it is the original version is like a 2D drawing, and then Nick's Atmos version is a 3D soundscape. It just envelops you. It is unreal. I listened to it and I grabbed my wife. I'm like, you've got to come down and listen to this song. So I played it for her and she loved it. It is so cool. There are a couple things that really stand out. So there's the backup vocals where they say focus, which is the name of the song. They say focus. And in the original version, it's just kind of static. And like I say, it's on the front sound stage and you just hear focus. But in Nick's version, in the Atmos version, he places those sounds and around the room and they bounce from location to location. They seamlessly travel around the room as the word focus is being repeated. And there's another part, and I thought it was really cool. There's a lyric in the song where Arianna sings, I think she says, I'm here, I'm over here, and something like that to that effect. And he placed it in the top left height. I'm over here. And then she repeats it again immediately after. And he places it in the top right height. So it's I'm over here. And she's like saying, I'm here, as it's bouncing around the room. It's just such a cool touch. It's such a cool song in the Atmos version. So definitely check that out. So now I'm going to talk about TechnoDad's songs. that he's remixed in Atmos. Now, if you don't know, TechnoDad, he's a YouTuber, and he and Joe and Tell also produced the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit. This is a really cool tool to calibrate your home theater setup. I purchased one months ago. I've used it quite a bit to dial in my system. It offers a lot of really cool things. You can check the sound. You can verify the sound through your various speakers. You can verify that your speakers are wired up correctly. You can also use it to generate pink noise for calibration purposes. I've used it a lot for the delay, fine tuning the delay. I found that my Anthem AVM 70, when I ran the Anthem Arc Genesis calibration, it didn't quite get the delays quite right. And so the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit is very helpful in identifying where the delays are not set up. It's kind of trippy, because what you do is you play it on your system, and then you, at the same time, you go into your AVR or your processor, and you can adjust the delays manually, and you can hear the voice shift the location from where it's coming from. It's hard to describe. You've got to just try it out. It's kind of cool, because what you want to do is you want to create imaging between speakers. So you've got your right front speaker, and then your side surround speaker, right? Well, if you're playing a sound through the both of them, you want that sound to be imaged so that it sounds like it's coming directly from the middle between the two speakers, right? But if your delays aren't dialed in correctly, then the sound it'll sound like it's coming either too close to the one speaker or too close to the other speaker. But once you get the delays set up correctly, then that sound images to the center. And as you adjust the delay on your AVR, you can hear the sound travel back and forth between the two speakers, and then you can stop it where it's best. Anyways, it's kind of trippy. It's kind of wild. Give that a try. I actually have a link for a discount for the Spatial Audio Toolkit. So I'll link to that in the description box. Use my code. I'll put the code right there next to the link, so you'll know what to use, and that'll get you 10% off. So definitely go check that out. So now let's get into the music that TechnoDad has remixed in Atmos. Now, I do want to mention, these are not comprehensive lists. These guys have created more songs than I'm talking about here. And so you definitely want to check out their channels, because they have even more songs than what I'm discussing. So the first song I'm going to talk about from TechnoDad is I Like Me Better. Now, this song is available on streaming, but it's not available in Atmos. And so again, I ran it through the Anthem Logic up mixer, and it sounded good. It sounded decent. Again, it was kind of like Focus from Ariana Grande, where it was just kind of static. But the up mixer did do a good job of placing the vocals, the backup vocals, in kind of the surrounds and the heights. And so I'd be listening to the song, and then the backups would come through in the other places in the room than just the front. But in TechnoDad's version, the Atmos version, what he did is he didn't just statically place those vocals in a set location. The vocals played, but then they moved throughout the room, which this is going to be a common theme throughout as I talk about these various songs. And I think the key difference here is that these two guys are both home theater fans. Like, they both love home theater. I mean, that's what they talk about in their channels, right? Like, especially TechnoDad, like, he's a big home theater guy. So it makes sense that somebody who loves home theater, when they're mixing it in Atmos, they're going to really utilize all of the tools at their disposal to make this as cool of an experience as possible. And one of the big things that they have done with these songs is when they place an element, whether it be an instrument or a vocal track or an effect or whatever, when they place it somewhere in the room, they don't just statically place it there. They often will move it around the room. So you're hearing it in multiple locations discreetly. So you hear it here, you hear it over here. And that's just a really cool effect. And that's a really cool use of the Dolby Atmos technology. There was one element in I Like Me Better that was particularly cool, and it was these finger snaps. There's like a few of them, and he placed them at the back of the room in the rear surrounds, and they just snapped, and it was just a really cool effect. And speaking more broadly about I Like Me Better, I feel like TechnoDad's version fit the vibe of the song better. It was a little more, I don't know, just kind of chill and just kind of more restrained. It's hard to describe. I mean, there was a lot more motion that was happening, but the vibe of the song, I feel like his mix matched the vibe better, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. You just have to listen to it. That's why you got to go check them out. So the next one from TechnoDad is On My Knees. Now, this one is available. In fact, this one and the next ones I'm going to be talking about are all currently available in Atmos, like through Apple Music. So you can listen to the original Atmos mix, or you can check out TechnoDad's Atmos remixes. So I listened to the original, I'll call it the original Atmos versus the remix Atmos. I listened to the original Atmos first, and it was cool. It was good. Like, it made good use of the space. It made good use of the surrounds, the heights, etc. But then when I went to the TechnoDad remix Atmos version, he used motion a lot more as things bounced around. Also, there was this kind of a effect. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just trying to reproduce the sound. It was like a and I didn't really notice it in the original version, but in TechnoDad's version, it was very pronounced, and there was a lot of movement as it moved throughout the room. And I really liked that. It was really cool. Also, there's a part in the song where the keyboard is just playing the same note. It's repeating it over and over and over again. And then there's this kind of distorted, kind of robotic vocal effect that kind of comes in periodically throughout that segment. And in the original Atmos version, that vocal segment was just statically placed on the right side of the room and kind of on the side and a little bit on the height. And so it would just come through right there. But in TechnoDad's Atmos version, that vocal effect would move all around the room. It was not static. It moved all around, and it really was cool because it really created this kind of this eerie, ethereal effect as it moved around the room. It was kind of ghostly. I don't know. It was just super cool, and I loved TechnoDad's remix version. So the next one from TechnoDad is Lean On. So I listened to the original Atmos version first, then I switched over to TechnoDad's version. So after I listened to the original Atmos version, the whole way through the song, I'm thinking, dang, this is actually really good. Like, I really like this version. I'm going to have to add it to my spatial audio Atmos playlist. Like, it's that good. I'm like, is he going to really be able to outdo this original? Because the sound, it was very immersive in the original. The sounds were placed, sides, heights, etc. It was pulled apart, like the various elements were discrete and placed very well. And I'm like, he's gonna have a challenge to top this. Then I clicked over to TechnoDad's Atmos version, and he did it again. He did it. It really was better. It was better. And it goes back to placing elements in the room, but not just in a set location. Placing them here, then here, then here, and following a distinct pattern. It's not just random, like, oh, here and here. It's like more like, okay, we're gonna place it here, and then as it repeats, say it repeats 3 times. It's like boom, boom, boom. And then other times he'll take an element and he'll bounce it from the front to the side, to the rear, to the middle rear, to the side rear, to the side, to the front, just kind of in a circle. And so the placement, the movement just makes it so much fun. And as a home theater enthusiast, I love listening to music this way. Now, purists, they may say, and I know they do, they're like, 2 channels the only way to go. 5.1 is fine. It's like, yeah, those are good, but this is just a different way to listen to music. I see the value in the original version, but it's also really cool to hear the remix. So it's nice to have options. And I love hearing both. And especially in this case, in this particular song, I really enjoyed the original Atmos, and I really enjoyed TechnoDad's remix Atmos. So you can't go wrong with either one. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk about is Illusion from Dua Lipa. And this one is available in Atmos on Apple Music. And again, I listened to the original first, and I was thinking, yeah, this is really good. Like it is a bubble of sound all around me. But I did notice that it kind of suffers from what I call the cacophony of sound problem, which is there's just so many musical elements, whether it be instruments or vocals or both or, everything. And they're all kind of bombarding you all at once. And so it's hard to really pick out the specific elements of what's actually happening. It's just kind of a cacophony of sound, right? So I wasn't really expecting there to be a difference in that element of it between the original and TechnoDad's version. But there was. And I don't know how he did it, but what he was able to do, what the end result is that it's like he took all of those elements that were kind of mashed together in a clump, and he teased them apart. And so in the remix Atmos version, you have all of those distinct Atmos elements, and they're placed discreetly, and you can discern and hear those various elements. There were parts of the song, specific tones or sounds or instruments that I did not hear in the original because they got lost in that cacophony of sound. But in the TechnoDad version, they were teased out, and I could key into them, and I heard them. I'm like, oh, I did not hear that in the original, and I'm hearing it now. That is really, really cool. So this is one that is, yeah, it sounds good in the original Atmos version, but you got to hear TechnoDad's remix. It's fantastic. Now I do want to mention that this Illusion version for TechnoDad, it actually is exclusively available to his Patreon members. However, he gave me permission to share this with my viewers. So you are getting access to this song for free. And so it's kind of a bonus. It's kind of a big freebie. So definitely check it out. Check out his channel. Check out Nick Matzke's channel. I'll link to both of them in the description box. I am really excited about the work these guys are doing. They're just individual guys. Like, nobody's bankrolling this. They're just doing this on their own. And they are creating something that is going up against and surpassing, in some cases, in many cases, what the original sound studios are doing. Like, this is incredible. It's amazing. Like, when I was doing A/B testing between the various versions, I was kind of stunned to consider the fact that I'm like, wow, the sound engineers, these paid engineers that are doing this for a living, this is what they're coming up with, and it's good. But then these guys are creating something that's even better. Like, that's just so cool. And I think the more people who do this kind of thing, it's just going to push the industry forward, and it's just going to make things better across the board, because the other guys, they're going to have to step up their game, right? Because these guys are doing really, really good work. So check them out, download them. If you have like a Zadoo or NVIDIA Shield, it'll be very easy to play these. Another way you can play them, because they are in the MP4 format, what you can do if you have a Mac and an Apple TV, you can download them to your Mac and then AirPlay it through QuickTime to your Apple TV to get those Atmos tracks. So definitely check them out, and thanks for watching.